Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John. We're starting reading today at John chapter 18, verse 19. Now, Jesus has been arrested while he was in the garden praying. Soldiers from the temple guard come to take him. Now, before morning comes, throughout the night, there will be two hearings or two trials of Jesus, if you want to call them trials. The first will be before Annas, and the second will be before Caiaphas. Now, Annas is father-in-law of Caiaphas, who this year is the high priest. Annas had been high priest himself in the past and still functions as a high priest, even though Caiaphas is officially the high priest in this year. But anyway, the first hearing is before Annas. So let's start reading about that in verse 19. So meanwhile, the high priest, now this is Annas, remember, questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teaching. He's got a lot of questions for Jesus, trying to accuse him by the questions about his followers and the things he was teaching. But Jesus replies, I've spoken openly to the world. I always taught in the synagogues or at temple where all the Jews come together. I did nothing in secret. Why question me? Ask those who heard me. Surely they know what I said. So notice Jesus refuses to play the game. He's not going to answer these questions. He said, listen, everything I've done has been in public and is well known. Ask people who heard me. I was always teaching in the synagogues in public. I was always teaching in the temple in a public area. Ask those people. Now, when Jesus said this, one of the officials nearby, is probably one of the soldiers, one of the guards, slapped Jesus in the face. Is that the way you answer the high priest? Now, this is actually illegal. In a Jewish court or a trial, the high priest is supposed to look out for the rights of the defendants and not to be abused in this way. But this is not a real trial. This is just a made-up hoax because they just want to get Jesus killed. So they slapped Jesus, say, is this the way you answer the high priest? And Jesus said, well, if I said something wrong, then testify as what is wrong. But if I spoke the truth, then why do you strike me? In other words, Jesus challenges them. This is not proper. This is not right. If you don't think I'm speaking the truth, bring someone in to refute what I'm saying who heard me. But why do you strike me when I speak the truth? So Annas sent him bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. So Annas got nowhere with his interrogation, with his questioning, and so now he sends Jesus on to Caiaphas. Now, we go down to verse 28, and this begins the second hearing, the one before Caiaphas, and this one will probably involve the Sanhedrin. That's the official Jewish ruling council. There might have been some of them with Annas, but since Caiaphas is the official high priest, now he will have the whole Sanhedrin gathered. Verse 28, so the Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas to the palace of the Roman governor. Isn't that interesting? John tells us a little bit about the trial before Annas, but the trial before Caiaphas, all he says was that Jesus was taken to Caiaphas and the Sanhedrin, and then he quickly says, and they sent Jesus to Pilate, the Roman governor, first thing in the morning. Now, we know from the other Gospels that Caiaphas did have some questions. We know from the other Gospels that Caiaphas asked Jesus first about what he had said about the temple. He referenced when Jesus said, tear down this temple and in 3 days I'll build it again. Remember, that was brought up. Of course, Jesus was talking about his body. It was a prophecy of the resurrection. But they were thinking of the physical temple. And they said, how can you tear it down and raise it up in 3 days? This took years and years and years for us to build. So we know from the other Gospels they asked about that. And we also know that the most significant part of the questioning before Caiaphas, when Caiaphas finally got frustrated with Jesus not answering questions, as he had before Annas, and Caiaphas simply says, tell us, are you the Messiah or not? Are you the Son of the Blessed One? We know that Caiaphas asked that from the other Gospels. And that's when Jesus said, I am. And you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of glory. That's a reference to the book of Daniel, that vision of the Son of Man receiving the kingdom. Caiaphas understood that as Jesus claiming to be the Messiah, which he was. And that's when Caiaphas tore his robes and said, you're blaspheming, because he refused to believe Jesus. And that's when Caiaphas is ready now to send Jesus to Pilate. So overnight, from the time of the arrest till early in the morning at dawn, Jesus has these two trials, or these two hearings, first before Annas and then before Caiaphas. They question him a lot, but the key moment comes when he says, I am the Messiah, and you'll see the Son of Man coming on clouds with glory. He's claiming to be the Son of God. And so then as dawn begins to break, they send Jesus on before Pilate, the Roman governor. Now tomorrow we'll look at the hearing before, or the trial before Pilate, which occurs first thing on Friday morning. So join us next time for our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John.